Hey everyone, my name is Wedge, and in this video we're talking all things Arcane Wizardry, the Wizard Tribal Commander 2017 deck. In case you missed our last video about Draconic Domination, you can check that out by clicking the link on the screen right there, super easy. Alright, let's jump right in and get our wizard on. The head of our wizard tribe is none other than Inalla, Archmage, Ritualist, 2 of anything, 1 blue, 1 black, and 1 red for a 4/5 legendary creature human wizard. You can tap 5 untapped wizards you control and target player loses 7 life. Nothing too subtle about that ability, but in all honesty, that dome for 7 has nothing to do with why Inalla is a good commander. Eminence. Whenever another non-token wizard enters the battlefield under your control, if Inalla is in the command zone or on the battlefield, you may pay 1. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that wizard. The token gains haste, exile it at the beginning of the next end step. Arguably the most powerful Eminence ability of the 4 Eminence commanders in 2017, Inalla's trigger is insane. It isn't even on cast, it's on entry to the battlefield of any non-token wizard, and you only have to pay 1 mana to get a copy that gains haste for a turn. Let me be clear when I say this. Of the Commander 2017 leaders, Inalla has the Eminence ability with the highest potential power, which means there's the most room to grow. We have a lot to talk about in this video. The alternative commanders in Arcane Wizardry are Kess, Distant Mage, and Mercil, the Pretender. I don't think these 2 creatures could be any different as far as text boxes are concerned. Kess is Snapcaster Mage on steroids, bringing a potential Storm deck to Grixis, any type of control variant, really any deck at all that plays more spells than the average commander deck might. Kess easily fits into any spell-based strategy that happens to run Grixis colors, and while Kess's ability has nothing to do with Inalla, we're more than welcome to have this human wizard because right now, Kess is arguably one of the most powerful cards out of Commander 2017 as a whole. Mercil has in turn nearly as many heads as Kess has, but he's still terrifying in his own right, but again has no real synergy with Inalla. Mercil thrives on imprisoning creatures or artifacts and gaining their power. Cool card? Heck yes. Amazing card, and absolutely one that we're going to make an entire deck out of, but as far as this strategy is concerned, the deck designed around Inalla's Eminence ability and obvious need for enter the battlefield triggers, Mercil doesn't do too much. Even if there are amazing activated abilities that Inalla will help bring to fruition, Mercil can't benefit from them because you can only exile from your hand or graveyard, which means that Mercil gets most of his power once the wizard is already dead in the graveyard. But then you have to exile the wizard to give Mercil the ability, and then if he gets exiled, that's just a huge loss in value. But again, we'll cover Mercil in his own deck, trust me. Both Kess and Mercil are outrageously powerful commanders, don't get it twisted, they're very strong, but as far as supporting Inalla, they don't do the best job of that. Inalla needs enter the battlefield triggers to perform optimally, or at least powerful and cheap activated abilities that the token she creates can use. Beginning with creatures, the deck gives you a fair number of enter the battlefield triggers, but they aren't too impactful. Izzet, Chronarch, Merchant of Secrets, Seagate Oracle, and Archaeomancer all work to get you more cards that you need. Puppeteer Clique is for reanimation shenanigans, hilarious making a token of that one, and Harbinger of the Tides helps to stem bleeding. When you see these enter the battlefield wizards, imagine 2 of them entering because that's the sole reason Inalla runs this deck. Newcomer Portal Mage rearranges combat for a creature, which is just adorable, and Bloodline Necromancer helps bring back your fallen wizards, which then get to trigger Inalla again. Now all of these cards are great, they have clear purpose, but that's all there is in terms of wizards with enter the battlefield triggers. We need more, Inalla needs more. It's a great start, but let's talk trigger upgrades. Now we'll talk about artifacts in a bit, but a combination of Trinket Mage, Trophy Mage, and Treasure Mage would be an easy include. You can tutor for basically all your artifacts and mana rocks as well as your powerful endgame artifacts. Sower of Temptation can give you something for a turn. Dualcaster Mage is crazy strong, allowing you to copy spells to your heart's content. Anathemancer takes advantage of your color identity and lets you bomb someone based on their non-basic lands. Corpse Connoisseur is a wizard, so you can play that to get some of your best wizards into your graveyard for either your Bloodline Necromancer or Heaven Lich that's also in the deck, or Apprentice Necromancer also in the precon. There's so many wizards with enter the battlefield triggers, good ones too. I already named some, but here are my other favorites for this deck, especially with Inalla. Disciple of Bolas, imagine 2 of those triggers. Master of Waves, more elementals than you can shake a stick at. Sidraxis Alchemist is a card no one knows about, but Unsummon I've heard is pretty good. And Spawn Broker, the delicious trump card. Trade away one of your tokens, no big deal, I love Spawn Broker, play that and annoy your friends, it's so good. Now, while there was an alright amount of enter-the-battlefield wizards, there's also a healthy number of wizards with powerful activated abilities. Remember, Inalla creates tokens with haste, which means you can use those activated abilities if they're good enough. Serendib Sorcerer functions as a combat removal spell, but when you copy it, you get to make something 0-2 right now. Not bad. But the star of the show is certainly Mages of the Mind. Mind's Desire on a wizard, copying this creature, then using the activated ability for 1 measly mana. Powerful beyond reason. And the best part is that you get another Mages of the Mind to use later. I quite enjoy approaching Inalla's ability from this angle. Powerful and cheap activated abilities can be just as efficient as triggered abilities. Beguiler of Wills and Jace's Archivist are 2 great examples. You want wizards who can do something strong as soon as they hit the battlefield and won't reverse the effect once they're exiled. Man, I love wizards. The rest of the creatures in the deck are a weird combination of spell support cards, cantrip creatures, and removal, from Nivix Guildmage and Mercurial Chemister to Magus of the Abyss and Marchesa herself. Arcane Wizardry can't seem to pick one thing to focus on, so it focuses on everything. We're talking about a deck that's running Niv Mizzet the Firemind, Vela the Nightclad, the new Taigam, and Azami in the same deck. The only similarity between these cards is that they're wizards. Which brings me to the final round of creature suggestions, Wizard Tribal cards. We've been focusing so much on interactions with Inalla, but this is a Wizard Tribal deck. We need other interactions, other strengths. One of those, the Wizard Tribe. Now, this deck doesn't actually come with much on that front. Besides Galecaster Colossus and the aforementioned Azami, we really don't have a lot going on in the tribal department. So let me introduce you to some old friends. Stony Brook Banneret cheapens your wizards, Brawl Chief of Compliance cheapens your spells, and he's a wizard. Pretty sweet, but then we get the wizard's real power. Riptide Director refuels you forever. Supreme Inquisitor neuters your opponent's decks one at a time. Patron Wizard essentially stops your opponents from playing spells, and if that doesn't work, Void Mage Prodigy literally stops your opponents from casting spells. These are the wizard tribal cards you should be getting. In addition, there are wizard staples like Docent of Perfection to fuel these other wizard cards. Fate Spinner because you still probably have that one friend left who has hope for your redemption. Let's quash that. Sage of Fables buffs every wizard that enters the battlefield, then you can use that to draw cards, and Venser's Shaper Savant is just plain dumb. A lot of wizards we just covered. Hope you took notes. Let's talk spells. As opposed to the Dragon deck, which was full of creatures and very few spells, Arcane Wizardry is almost 50-50 as far as creature-to-spell ratio is concerned. As you might imagine, there's so much removal here I can't even breathe. Comet Storm, Go for the Throat, Chaos Warp, Decree of Pain, what you'd expect to find here. Of course, in addition to stupid amounts of removal, we are playing blue, so you can guess the annoying control cards that found their way in here. Into the Royal, Polymorphous Jess, Silumgar's Command, friggin' Spelltwine. Of all the Commander 2017 strategies, this one packs the biggest punch as far as spells go. As it should, we're talking wizards here. Add in more sweepers like Kindred Dominance and Nevinral's Disc, and it gets a bit easier to see what's going on here. You wipe out everything and then flood the board with your shenanigans, not letting anyone do anything without asking you first. This deck chokes the life and free will out of its opponents. Clone Legion to make even more wizards, you can kill everyone instantly with Inalla's activated ability, Cauldron Dance and Necromantic Selection to manipulate the board, Vindictive Lich to punish everyone at the table. Arcane Wizardry is savage to say the least. A ruthless pre-constructed deck that's designed to make the entire world burn, or in this case the kitchen table, but you get what I mean. The entire strategy is designed to draw cards, kill things, bring them back, and do that over and over again until your friends would rather spend their time at Taco Bell. Of course, this doesn't mean that there aren't spells that could be put in to make it even more annoying to deal with. Sapphire Medallion, even in a 3-color deck, is valuable. Most of your deck will be blue. In addition, I'd get some cards that let you go over 7 cards in hand, Thought Vessel, Reliquary Tower, Venser's Journal, stuff like that. This deck could use a few more counter spells. Disallow, Hinder, Rewind, Forbid, the annoying counterspells. I'm also a fan of Rite of Replication here, obviously. More wizards are always better, and you can get so many under the battlefield triggers. Speaking of that, why not Panharmonicon? Someone in the country you're in still might want to play Commander, we can't have that. Next up, it isn't tribal, but Washout helps with off-color annoyances. You can put your best spells on Isochron Scepter, and Diviner's Wand is actually a wizard in addition to being a super annoying equipment to deal with long term. And finally, if you're one of those people, Rhystic Study, Propaganda, you know the drill. Time to talk lands. Thankfully, the land base in this deck is far better than in Draconic Domination. In addition to the expected Command Tower and Vivid lands, we get some bounce lands, some budget fetches, Exotic Orchard, gain lands. Pretty ideal budget spread of lands, to be honest. This will work just fine in your games. You shouldn't have any issues with mana playing this out of the box. For upgrading purposes, Myriad Landscape is solid, Nykthos is going to be valuable for blue mana even if you're in a 3-color deck, and Riptide Laboratory is one of the better Wizard tribal cards. If you can find one, I'd get it, it's real strong. Now besides those specifically, of course fetch lands and shock lands are always welcome and will make your mana much easier to manage, but again, right out of the box, you could do worse than Arcane Wizardry. So what do you think of Arcane Wizardry led by Inalla, Archmage, Ritualist? Is this the kind of pre-con deck you're looking to play if you want something with a spell-heavy focus that offers no mercy to anyone, sometimes including yourself? This is where you want to be. There are plenty of powerful synergies to expand upon here, and each of the 3 new commanders can go their own way. A lot of potential in this one deck, I'll tell you that right now. So again, what do you think? Which upgrades have you found that work? I'd love to hear what you have to say, so be sure to leave all your thoughts in the comments and we'll talk about it. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. This video is brought to you in part by TCGplayer.com. If you want Arcane Wizardry, you can order it right this second from TCG Player for $37, just by clicking that link on the screen. If you don't have a local game store or a big box store near you, don't worry, I got you back. The deck feels great, it looks great. If you want it, help us out. Enjoy!
Wow.